Marilyn Monroe didn't just become an icon. She mastered the art of becoming one and then became the blueprint. Hi, I'm Dana, and welcome to Face Value, where we sit down, chat, and uncover the stories behind beauty. Today, we're going to talk about the beauty behind the iconic Marilyn Monroe. Have you ever wondered how did she even orchestrate her persona? Because I feel like when we talk about Marilyn Monroe or we even mention her name, who doesn't know who she is? She's so recognizable. Everybody and their mom knows who she is. So how did she become this icon? Because there's a million actresses, even in her time. So what exactly did she do to make herself a staple? Let's start from the very beginning, with a beautiful woman who went by the name Norma Jean. Marilyn was born in LA in 1926, actually with the name Norma Jean. So she wasn't ever Marilyn until later on. We'll get into why later. To summarize most of her early life quickly, she spent most of her childhood between foster homes because her mom was kind of confined to insane asylums and her dad is still unconfirmed to this day. At least I couldn't find it. Comment below if you know who her father is because I just found the info that said that we don't know. But anyways, she grows up a little bit and she ends up moving in with a friend, Grace McKee Goddard, if I'm pronouncing that right, and his family. This was a family friend, but this whole family ends up relocating and Norma Jean decides to stay behind in LA. Now 16-year-old Norma Jean is by herself, and what does she end up doing? She actually ends up getting married to her old neighbor. Super cute, right? Don't ship it too hard though, because they did end up getting a divorce post World War II. But it's not all bad, right? Because everything happens for a reason, right? Because this is when Norma Jean was discovered by an army photographer. And because of this discovery, she starts her modeling career. Marilyn was a model before she was an actress. Everyone starts somewhere, right? And I'm not surprised. I mean, have you seen how drop-dead gorgeous she is? We already know that this later turns into an acting career, but this is where the transformation begins. Let's get into the transformation. Did you know that Marilyn Monroe was not a natural blonde? I didn't until I researched it. So once she was discovered by this US Army photographer and started modeling, she actually ended up signing with a modeling agency called Blue Book. And it was actually the agency that suggested that she go blonde. The head of the agency suggested that she go blonde because, according to her, brunettes can only be photographed a certain limited amount of ways, which I have no idea what that means. That's just what I read. I don't know what it could mean. I mean, maybe I'm biased because I'm a brunette myself, but I'm I don't know, maybe she meant aesthetic. I don't know, maybe the aesthetic of blonde was more popular back then, but anyways, that's just what I read. My sources are below. But anyways, that's why Miss Norma Jean went blonde, because it was a suggestion and it was a career move. Pure strategy, which clearly ended up working for her. Now we're skipping forward and we're in the 50s. Now Norma is being involved in film projects, how we know her best. And her hair really made her stand out even within all the other blondes because it was so platinum. So she was already making herself super recognizable. Speaking of suggestions, when Norma first signed a contract with Fox, that contract also came with the search for a stage name. Bet you already know where I'm going with this. Ben Leon, who was an executive at Fox, suggested that she be named Marilyn after a Broadway star, Marilyn Miller, because Norma just reminded him so much of her. And Norma herself came up with Monroe because that was her mother's maiden name, hence the birth of Marilyn Monroe. She even got it legally changed in 1956. Now that's commitment. Sticking to the bit, I find that very admirable. You know, a name change is probably something that isn't super noticeable to a lot of people, but a lot of celebrities even nowadays have name changes from subtle to not so subtle. Example being Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's name is not Lady Gaga. Her name is Stephanie Jaramoda, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. But nobody calls her Stephanie or nobody really recognizes her as Stephanie. But I can see why she changed her name to have a better presentation. I mean, it really elevates someone's persona, and I think aside from physical image, if you really want to adhere to a personal brand, sticking to a certain name is definitely a great way to do it. It makes you more memorable. I mean, Stephanie Jaramoda is a really long name, but Lady Gaga is memorable because it's so unique and it's shorter. Or even people like Zendaya. When have you ever heard Zendaya's last name? Crickets. These are all just strategies to elevate one's persona, and that started with Marilyn because she did it first. I haven't changed my name, but I don't use my last name on platforms just because I have a really long last name. I actually have 2 long last names, so I just stick to my first and middle name, Dana Belen. That was also a decision I had to make so that people could search me more easily. By the way, I'd love to dedicate a whole episode to Lady Gaga. I love that woman so much. Now she's a modern day icon. Marilyn created this like almost domino effect when it comes to her image, because first came the platinum blonde hair that she called pillowcase blonde, which is so cute. Then came the name change, and she even legally changed it like all over paper. And then she elevated it even more. Now let's talk about her iconic red lips, which was what inspired me to wear a red lip today. When I think of Marilyn Monroe, I think of elegance and grace and sophistication, but I think the number one thing that pops into my mind is a red lip. I don't go straight to blonde. I don't go straight to like the whole name thing. I go straight to a red lip. And it's crazy because I've just always associated red lips with Marilyn Monroe, and I think most people do. So how did her iconic red lip come to life? We can thank a makeup artist named Max Factor, who also went on to create the actual brand Max Factor, which I think you could still buy from today. That's really cool. As a professional makeup artist myself, this is where I truly geek out, because it blows my mind how far back makeup artistry goes, and especially in the professional world. I mean, I'm sure professional makeup artistry wasn't as common as a job back then, but definitely a necessary one, right? And the cool thing is that Max Factor didn't just use one lipstick out of a tube. He used at least 3 different shades to manufacture this iconic red lip. But there were things that he always made sure he got right. One of them being that it was always a semi-matte or satin finish. He did this so the lips could be caught by the light without looking super glossy. Which, you know, makes sense because movie star. In terms of layering this color, he always started with a classic red base and then would go on to layer and contour using different shades. The different variations of red gave a lot of dimension and made the illusions of more defined lips, which is something I talk about a lot in my makeup tutorials, so I'm giving myself a pat on the back for that one. He used a darker shade on the edges and a brighter shade in the middle to make the appearance of fuller lips, and always used a lip brush for extra precise application. From lining her lips properly to always trying to find the best layering system, Max Factor was a true pro. Max Factor is definitely one of the OGs, and he is the definition of what being a professional makeup artist is all about, catering to each and every single client to make sure that they look their best and feel their best. Though Max Factor did pass away, his brand continued to thrive and even released a collection of Marilyn lipsticks, which was 4 different shades, kind of mimicking the ones that he would layer on her, meant for different undertones of skin. The shades were Marilyn Ruby Red, that had like cooler blue undertones for cooler skin tones, Marilyn Cabernet, which was a beautiful deep red that was rich in more purple tones, that was meant for deeper skin tones, Marilyn Sunset Red, which was a little bit more orange tinted, meant for warmer and olive skin tones, and Marilyn Berry, which had more purples and blues, which was also meant for cooler undertones. And I actually found 2 of the shades on Amazon, so I'm gonna look into purchasing those because I think they'd be really cool to have in my collection. I don't know if they're the exact same batches as they used to have them, because I did look at maxfactor.com and it looks like they don't have the collection anymore, but I did find 2 listings on Amazon for 2 of the different shades, but the Marilyn Ruby Red was sold out. One of them was sold out, and then there was, I think, Marilyn Berry available. But I don't know if they're original. I'll keep it at that. But you can buy other Max Factor lipsticks online at maxfactor.com, which I thought was really cool. But isn't it crazy that something so simple like a red lip was actually put together in such detail and care just to elevate somebody? Something that seems so simple actually had so much thought behind it. And honestly, going through all of that just to find what suits you best and to make sure that your appearance is as elevated as can be is true icon behavior, and I find that beyond admirable because it's no easy thing. I made a video about how to find things that suit your face better when it comes to makeup. Go check it out if you haven't already. And in it, I talked about how it's so much trial and error, as in you have to try out different things. You try out a cut crease, you try out red lips, you try out this color and that color and all of these different things just to see what suits you best. But that's not guarantee that you'll like every single thing. So imagine all the playing around that she did to be able to find those certain things that she likes about herself. Now, I'm not saying go bleach your hair or start layering the reds. Totally can if you want to, but I'm not saying that. But if you ever want to feel a little bit more elevated, consider experimenting with different things when it comes to beauty. I have a guide specifically for that. You can check it out on my channel. And I also have different guides like how to find your perfect foundation and things like that, and I have more coming. So definitely don't be scared to go out of your comfort zone a little bit, because beauty is all about fun, truly. And I know I primarily talk about makeup, but it's not limited to that. It's also things like clothing and haircuts and hair colors. I'm not telling you to chop off your hair but I will say hair grows back. I've messed up my hair a couple of times by bleaching it too much, so I won't say anything about bleach, but look at some different options. Look at people with similar face shapes to you. I also talked about that in my makeup video of how to find your perfect makeup style. Wow, that was a sentence, but anyways, look up people that have similar features to you, celebrities, and go based off of that. Try out bangs, try out curtain bangs, try out short hair, try out extensions. There's clip-ins, you know? Try out different colors that you don't usually wear. Try a different lip color. Try wearing lashes, try doing a cut crease, try doing all these little things. I promise you, you will find something that you will not want to let go. Experiment to find what makes you feel like you. Being unique is cool kid behavior. But what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the name Marilyn Monroe? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Hit the subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Make sure you hit the bell because that's what's going to tell you that there's a new episode. And if you want more beauty tips from me, make sure that you follow me. I'm Dana Belen across all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and Substack, where I share even more beauty content, including how I did the look that I'm wearing today. So if you like all of that, make sure that you go follow me and leave me a red kiss mark so I know that you came from this video, and I'll follow you back. That's all for this week's episode of Face Value, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, besties!